Motor Week is made possible by Auto Value and Bumper to Bumper and TireRack.com.
The Z returned to the Nissan lineup in a big way last year, using a design that drew inspiration from previous Z Sport coupes, while packing a twin-turbo V6 engine with more power than ever before. But leave it to Nismo to make it even better by boosting every aspect of the Z's performance. So time for us to open up the next chapter of the legendary Book of Z. If you've got a need for speed, then stay tuned for this track test, which is brought to you by the letter Z. It's the 2024 Nissan Z Nismo, meaning it's not only the latest Z, but one that's been amped up with performance goodies derived from Nissan's motorsport expertise. Looking every bit the track hero, the Nismo gets a completely different front treatment with a longer nose and a revised grille with thinner mesh. Vertical winglets were also added at the corners to manipulate airflow. The rear fascia also gets reshaped to reduce drag, while the rear spoiler is both taller and wider, extending out onto the fenders for additional downforce. And finally, the side skirts were reshaped to reduce lift. All of it done cohesively to not just maximize downforce, but to deliver better balance overall, with some thin red line accents to enhance the visuals. 19-inch wheels are both wider and lighter, with the rears wearing 285/35 Dunlop SP Sportmax performance tires, similar to those on the Nissan GT-R. Both the double wishbone front and multi-link rear suspension have gotten a thorough reworking, with unique dampers and stiffer springs, along with additional chassis bracing and retuned steering. At Summit Point Motorsports Park's Jefferson Circuit, the Nissan Z did show great balance, but it does still feel like you're sitting over the rear tires and aiming that long front end around the track. The front tires could still use a little more grip, but we were in total control with good communication from every component of the car. Throw in the nicely weighted and responsive steering, and this is one very fun car to manhandle around a racetrack. More horsepower is always appreciated by us, and going from 400 to 420 may not seem like that big of a deal. But the torque increase from 350 to 384 pound-feet is more significant. It all helped this 3-liter twin-turbo V6 be much more responsive on track, with plenty of reserve available when we needed it. Engine cooling has been upgraded and an additional Sport Plus drive mode added. The exhaust sounds good for a 6-cylinder, but it could be louder. Despite being a track-focused car, no manual transmission is available, as the Nismo comes exclusively with a 9-speed automatic. That seemed like a bummer going in, but on track, shifts were quick and smooth, and the transmission did a decent job of anticipating proper gearing for coming out of corners. Shift paddles were responsive too, but helped mostly when it came to downshifting, though the twin-turbo's broad, confidence-inspiring power band allowed us to worry less about whether we were in the right gear or not. Nismo front brake rotors are larger by 1 inch and stopped us from 60 in just 94 feet, while being smooth and consistent out on the track. In straight-line acceleration runs at Mason-Dixon Dragway, the Nismo launched aggressively and was a real handful until it shifted into second and calmed down a bit. Despite the additional power, the 4.5-second trip to 60 was exactly the same that we got last year. But the Nismo did pick up the pace as we went down the track, finishing the quarter in 12.8 seconds at 112 miles per hour. Suspension is borderline too stiff for a street car, which means it's just right for enthusiasts. And there are some unique trim and logos inside to set it apart from lesser Zs. Government fuel economy ratings are 17 city, 24 highway, and 19 combined. We averaged a fine 19.6 miles per gallon of premium. That's only slightly worse than average for the Energy Impact Score, with 15.7 barrels of oil consumption and 7.8 tons of CO2 emissions annually. Pricing for Z Nismo starts at $66,890, which is about $12,000 over a Z Performance. We believe that Nissan has quite effectively captured the spirit of the original Z with this 7th gen reboot, and we very much appreciate the track-focused upgrades found on this 2024 Nissan Z Nismo. It kind of makes us think this is where the new Z should have been in the first place. But regardless of how they got here, it's just good to know the Z is not just surviving, it's thriving.
The MotorWeek app, which includes our latest reviews and feature stories, is now available for mobile devices.